Hello and welcome to the programme. My guest today is one of the best-known figures on the international stage. Laurent Fabius was French Foreign Minister from 2012 until early 2016, a period that was not short of international crises. In a political career spanning more than 40 years, he became the youngest Prime Minister in the Fifth Republic, Minister for the Economy and Financial Affairs, and President of the National Assembly. He now heads the country's Constitutional Council. Laurent Fabius has just published a book, 37 Quai d'Orsay, a look back at his time as France's top diplomat. Welcome to the programme. Let's start with the situation in Syria. As of this Wednesday, we seem to be moving more rapidly towards the fall of Aleppo. This is the worst-case scenario that you described in your book. Is there going to be anything left to negotiate internationally once the city actually falls?
It's an absolute drama. What is taking place at the very moment where we are speaking, people are killed by Syrian regime, Russians, Iranians, and a lot of people. And it's a shame. It's really a shame. And they are taking advantage of the fact that the new American president is not yet in office to forgive these words. Finish the work.
Finish the job.
Finish the job.
So are you saying there's no more pressure left that the West has on Assad? Because sanctions obviously have not deterred him and his inner circle. Military action is no longer an option today.
Unfortunately, no, and you know that the Security Council tried to deal with that, but there were several vetoes. Therefore, today people are killed, and in fact, there is no real solution on the ground.
When we look back at the beginning of this war in Syria to today, it's striking, isn't it, that all these Western leaders called on Assad to step down. Barack Obama, David Cameron, François Hollande. He's outlasted all of them. Do you think it was a mistake to focus so much on getting him out of power?
No, I think the situation has changed. I explain in my book that in June 2012, the conversation, even with the Russians, was where do we send Bashar? But there was an opposition of the Russians, and therefore it was not possible. Afterward, there has been a moment in August 2013 where we have planned to intervene militarily, but President Obama did not accept it. You know, it's the story of the chemical weapons.
That's right, yeah.
And step by step, there were terrorists on the ground. At the beginning, there were no terrorists. Yeah. And at that time, it was not possible to intervene. And it's a tragical example of a situation which could have been dealt with a few years before, but now it's not only a national drama, it's an international conflict.
It's true, you talk a lot about the missed opportunity of August 2013 in your book. You believe that had that military intervention taken place, the democratic or moderate forces would have been strengthened, but I suppose the counter-argument is that that military action could also have strengthened the Salafist rebels. I'm not talking about the jihadists, but the Salafists backed by Saudi Arabia who are not fighting for a democratic Syria.
It's the argument which is given by President Obama, as you know. My belief is that if we had intervened, Bashar would have been forced to negotiate. And in fact, he has not negotiated. At that time, the Russians have understood that they could use him as a pressure in other parts of the world. And my own belief is that there is a link between what we have not done in August 2013 and the Ukrainian problem. Because when President Putin understood that President Obama will not intervene, well, it was a new way of looking at the world. And the same for Arab countries. who have understood at that time that they have to be very careful with their old alliances and friendship.
Speaking of this window between the Obama presidency and Donald Trump, what implications do you think that's going to have for the Iranian nuclear deal, which is often described as your main foreign policy success?
First, this deal is not perfect, but I think it's very useful. And it has been difficult to achieve, more than 3 years of negotiation. And the Americans wanted to have this deal, and they were right. But at the same time, the French position was okay for a deal, but a robust deal. And at the end of the day, it's what we have achieved. And I think it would be a great mistake to undo the deal.
Do you think he would be able to do that concretely?
It's not only a deal between U.S. and Iran, because it's a deal which has been accepted by the international community and by the Security Council. But moreover, what would be the other solution if some country, if any country, decide to break the deal? There would be a reaction by the Iranian. What does it mean at the end of the day? Going to war? No, it would be obviously ridiculous. And I think we have to stick to the deal. The International Agency for Energy has a duty to look at that very precisely. But I think it's a deal which is useful. It doesn't mean that Iran is acting properly in other regions. Because we have spoken about Syria and all that stuff. But so far as a nuclear deal is concerned, I think it would be a mistake to undo it.
I want to ask you a question about Europe. Obviously, you know Europe extremely well, and you talk about it in your book, and particularly this rise of the anti-establishment vote in Europe and the United States. I mean, it seems to me that whenever there's a new gain by Eurosceptic or anti-establishment forces, the established politicians use the same platitudes. We have to be careful about the rise of populism. It's not enough. It doesn't change anything. What kind of new language do you think is needed with citizens and voters now?
It's not only a question of language, it's a question of action. There are many reasons for populism, but one of them is that elements of the population, middle class and poor people, have the feeling to be left behind because of unemployment, because of salaries and so on. And therefore we have at a European level to act in order that these actions could be taken first. Second, I think Europe is maybe not clear enough. I explained that I am in favor, like François Mitterrand, Jacques Delors, and some other guys, of what I call the three circles. It's not clear what are the limits of Europe, and the limits have to be clear. You have some countries within Europe which are highly dedicated to having a real European strength. It's the first circle. You have the second circle of all the countries which are members of Europe. And you have at the periphery other countries, Turkey, Ukraine, Russia, and so on, which will not be in Europe, but with whom we have to have a privileged relationship. And if you have this presentation in terms of three circles with different missions, it's much more clear.
The problem, it seems to me, with that is at the moment you might not find many takers for the first circle, because France surely would have to be in that. I mean,
you have
French
France,
Republic,
you have Germany.
Yeah.
You have Italy, you have Spain.
French citizens in a mood for deeper European integration, that's a bit of a difficult sell, isn't it?
Not probably if it is a deep and loose one.
Right.
But if it is with countries which are really dedicated to Europe, it's a different.
Mr. Fabius, I'd like to come on to one other important topic. You were credited in Paris last year with getting 195 delegations to sign onto the climate change agreement. Is the spirit of Paris still alive today?
Yes, but first, it's not enough. because, well, Paris was a great success, but we have to act more. Therefore, it's not enough, and there is a menace. The menace is particularly what will be the real behavior of the new US president. During the campaign, very strange things have been said. He said that it was a figment of the imagination.
He seems to be slightly changing now. But
Now, he seems to be slightly different, and I hope he will be different. Therefore, we have to keep alive the spirit of Paris. We have to go a bit further, and we have to eliminate the obstacles.
Okay, we'll have to end it there on that note. Thank you so much for being my guest on the interview, Laurent Fabius, former Foreign Minister of France. Thanks for watching, and do stay tuned. More news coming up in just a moment here on France 24.